and somebody sits on top in the center, the inner sancti sanctorum of God, in the altar of God, and begin to say she is a priest, and they are now debating whether a woman should be made a deacon or be made a priest in the Catholic Church. I mean, is it every conversation somebody shall give their time to think, and I won't give my time to think about something like that? Because if they do that, what about the book of Timothy, 1 Timothy chapter 3? What did the Lord say about deacon? You find people have lost their mind and begin to engage in conduct and behavior that contradicts the word of God. Why should somebody give it? That is why we ask and urge people that even in this theology, but when did the Christianity enter all these places that are proclaiming this in the West? From Canterbury to that of Germany. Christianity entered the West when Constantine converted into Christianity. And when was that? In what century? All the debate that took place in third and in the fourth and fifth centuries in defense of the Christianity that almost, that if it were not for the Africans that it was behind in support of the Roman emperor in his conversion and in defense of the faith. And of course, a lot of Africans were beheaded and were expelled. Expelled means banished. And a lot of them were stripped of their noble titles, and because of the way they defended Christianity in the defense. And I talked about that in the history of Christianity earlier. When you talk about people like Cyprian, people like Centurions, and their peers, the Bishop of Hippo, St. Augustine, they had a backup. And that's why I was kind of surprised about some of the things that are happening, because Africans are talking about now, but they have forgotten their own history in the role they played, the apologetics of them. Bede, people that came in defense of Christianity at the earlier time when Christianity, and some people say that the West brought Christianity to Africa. How much people distort the history. And unfortunately, as of the 3rd and the 4th centuries, when these debates were hot, when people are being killed and being tied to a pole and lit on fire because of their faith and believing and conversion into Christianity. As the debate that people are having today, the Africans were the foremost. That is why that some people now in the north of Africa, the Berber tribe, for example, remember there was a time we talked about the barbarians, the people of the Berber tribe and their culture, the barbaric culture at the time before Christianity came and converted and changed to all the things in the town. That is why a lot of them people were killed and banished, because they decided to change and convert into Christianity and accept Christianity as a faith, and accept Judaism and Judeo-Christian beliefs and faith, and defended the philosophy of it in the doctrines and theology of the church, the foundation of the church. That was more than 300-400 years before Muhammad was born. And then after Muhammad was born, and then a lot of them converted into Islam, they lose their intellect, their reasons and logic, which they use in defending philosophy. Even at the time, when there were people then that were in the peers of Stoic, the mathematicians and the scientists, and learned they have driven away general African studies out of universities. When I was there, if you don't pass the JAS 1 and 2, GAS 1 and 2, you can't graduate no matter how much you excel in every other discipline. That will make people to understand the culture and the history, the origin of iron technology and the healthcare technologies of the north of Africa, and all the things that lay the foundations that everybody in the West enjoy today. So when people begin to talk about things and they forget their history and don't know where they started, it makes me wonder how they're going to be able to think about the future if you forget the past. Like the Igbos that have forgotten their history and their past, and they want somebody to feel sorry for the things that they're going through today. But all they need to do is to take and do what is necessary to be able to come to find out who they are, and they can see God they have worshipped and served all the time, from time immemorial, will rise up in their defense and see which of those that have betrayed them along the riverine and those that have decided to be their brothers, but they have decided to, because of what they gain, because they distribute the wealth, and because of the wealth that of course may come from their own place, which is fine, but because of those words that they kick, they become a man when it is a way to overdo, a way to challenge, and a way to destroy the Igbos as a nation or any of their interests in the meetings that they have been having. The question still remains, what kind of neighbor do they want? The amount of meetings that they have to conspire and plan and execute malicious behavior against the Igbos. The Igbos themselves have continued to remain humbled in the way they appeal for peace, and they take it as a sign of weakness. If Igbos are to engage in intellectual conspiracy and plan and plot against any of the tribes, if they all together decide to invest the amount of energy that the other nations in Nigeria invest in plotting against the Igbos, if Igbos are to reward them and avenge and act in the same manner, what kind of nation will they be? What will be Ibibios and Efik be? And what will be those from the Benin Kingdom be? These are people that Igbos gave land free, like those of Onitsha to occupy, or those from Aguleri to occupy.